special guest, Eric. Eric is the CEO here at the YMCA of Hannibal, and everyone knows him. Everyone's probably talked to him. He's a very open person about it. So today we're going to talk about what full wellness looks like and what the myths may be behind it, or actual facts behind it, and we're going to sort of delve deep into that. So Eric, first of all, welcome, and
thank you.
And please just sort of tell us a little bit about yourself, and then maybe what your thoughts and what you're maybe hopefully take away from this whole situation.
Sure, it's great to be here, guys. I think this is very cool what you're doing with this podcast, number one. A little bit about myself. I have been in the fitness and recreational industry for about 24 years. Many years in the private sector, and then was very blessed to come on with the YMCA. Throughout that time period, I've been exposed to many different levels of wellness, if you will. The health seekers is probably our biggest population of people looking for that answer, and they start and they stop and they start and stop again. I think we're all familiar with that. All the way to the elite athlete that is just incredibly self-disciplined with their diet, with their physical fitness, with their mental approach to how they get where they're wanting to go. So I'm happy to speak on it, and I don't know if I have a whole lot of wisdom or knowledge for this topic, but I'd like to share some stories and some things that I've seen.
Yeah, and again, we're going to all just sort of talk in like we usually do. And so I think, and maybe your thought on this or anybody's on this, we think about true wellness. And you think about when you ask people, what is the fit you or the perfect you? And they say, oh, six-pack and a perfect chest, maybe Brad Pitt off Fight Club. But is that really true 100% wellness? What do you guys think? I mean, what is your version, your thoughts of maybe the myth part of wellness? So what do you guys think?
Go ahead. I think first off, it just depends on the person. Everybody's going to have their own perfect self. You're not going to be the same as Chris Hemsworth or as The Rock. And people have, maybe one of the myths is, oh, well, we're going to have to eat clean 7 days a week, at all times. There's no room for cheating when then you look at the guys that you idolize, such as maybe The Rock, who has a massive cheat day, and just realize it is perfect wellness is not just, oh, I'm going to do a little bit of this. It's kind of the culmination of everything put together, but you are still allowed to have those, those days where maybe you're a little more lax, and you're just more in tune with your body than what most other people are.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead. I would say a big part of perfect wellness, if you will, is having a sense of humility and understanding that it's okay to ask for help, that you need assistance, that I know that I'll never push myself as hard as somebody else will push me. Mm-hmm. So why not seek that out, seek that guidance out, that counsel out, and be led. A lot of people feel like they have to do it on their own, and you don't. So being humble, having some humility to your approach, you're going to have some successes and some failures along the way, but being able to, find an avenue where it's not just you, but it's you and a support group, it's you and others taking this journey. You don't have to do it by yourself.
and I think you kind of hit right on point with that, because a lot of these, action stars, a lot of these people that you look at and they're like, oh, they're shredded. Chris Hemsworth, playing Thor, they surround themselves with a group of people, whether it's a nutritionist, a trainer, so they don't do any of that on their own. They have these people that help them along the way to get in that peak condition that they're looking for.
Yeah. And they might be super disciplined. Like they may go through a period or a stage in their life where they don't cheat.
Right.
But I mean, that's not sustainable for everyone.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that to discourage people from striving for optimal wellness. I think that's what we're always pushing towards. But I mean, you have to find what's sustainable for yourself. And we talked about that in past conversations too. It's like, you almost have to ask yourself, is that even the way you want to live? Is it even worth it? I ask people, I'm like, because everybody comes in and they want the six-pack abs.
Yeah.
They just want it. I just want it. That's what optimal fitness looks like for me. And I'm like, Do you really? Do you know what it's really gonna take
Dedication.
to get six-pack abs and maintain it year-round, in and out? I'm like, hey, I'll show you how to do it. I'll tell you what it takes. I'll tell you, I got little glimpses here and there peeking through, but I don't have it shredded I don't have it shredded as much as I want
Jeff,
to.
we've seen your Facebook posts. It's at least 4.5.
They're in there, but I
supposed to be 6.
don't even, maintain that level of.
Let's
of
ask
fitness.
someone who knows what a six-pack is like, day in and day
Oh,
out,
my
because
goodness.
he's that disciplined and he's that much of a physical specimen. Nathan Waters, can you fill us in on what it takes to keep that six-pack ab?
Well, first of all, I don't even have a six-pack, but it's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's eating right, it's working out right, it's people that are not willing to take that rest day, and that's just going to put all the effort in. I mean, it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Now, most of our conversation has been about the physical.
Yeah.
And that's not even really wellness, to be honest. But every conversation
It's just a
goes
peak
to
of the whole wellness
the
spectrum.
Everybody wants
Yeah.
the looks that comes along with optimal wellness, but really, I mean, wellness is more on the inside than the outside.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, skinny doesn't mean healthy.
No.
Exactly. And so like we talked, you're hitting the nail on the head. We talked about like this illness to wellness continuum. It's on the wellness part, and it goes in a straight line.
Yeah.
As we talk to the Eddie, it becomes more of a circle. You have the spiritual, the social, the all those are the combinations that come in to help that wellness. Wellness is just a piece of the pie for the whole.
Wellness is more than fitness.
Yeah, and so it's more of a circle than a straight line. There's no really end in sight. It's a continual connection. But if you look at what the standard of the optimum wellness, it talks about 100% function of the body. It talks about a continual knowledge of wellness, about how you're eating, and everything functional, everything internal, external, is all dialed in. I mean, if you think about it, probably the top athletes are that is maybe professional ice skaters and those Olympians, because you think about those guys know their body. They can close their eyes. Olympic lifters, for example, can close their eyes and they can tell what point that bar is going to pass the body.
Yeah.
And we think, everyone thinks that we're going to be in that scale. But that doesn't also mean that you are going to be, that's the end goal for everybody. That is a position that takes so much more practice. Like Eddie is trying to work into that realm. And that realm is a very hard realm to be in. I mean, it's the optimal. It's not the demanded end phase for everyone.
Yeah.
Most people could be in the wellness spectrum
Right.
and live a happy, healthy, perfect life.
Yeah.
Physical wise.
Yeah, and when you talk about 100% function, most people come in here and they're just like, I just don't want to hurt on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
I just want to get out of bed and not hurt. I want to be able to bend over and not hurt. So we're talking about that 100% functionality, just to be able to do day-to-day activity without hurting,
Exactly.
and maybe that's optimal for them. When we ask that question, what's your perfect? I mean, how many times does that come up? I just don't want to hurt.
That's a big thing too. You ask the question. You do get some people. Well, I want a six-pack. I want ripped chest, wide shoulders, whatever it may be. Then you have the people who are like, man, I just want my knees to not hurt when I squat down, or I want my hips to feel better. I want this to feel better, and it may be, I need to lose weight so that'll feel better. I need to work on my mobility, whatever it may be. But it's not always going to be, I want to get shredded and huge.
Exactly.
It's not everybody's.
And then Nathan could also relate with this too. We were talking about this earlier. The top Olympian, this lady is a beastie. She wins all the gold medals. But you see her in the grocery store, and you think this lady is super obese and not fit at all. But if you actually plug her into the charts, her body is like, you would think that she'd be perfect health and wellness. And so by that spectrum, it's almost like interchangeable, almost shifting to the individual and their athlete. So if you look at people like in Nathan's field, they're not going to be slim and look like a swimmer.
Right.
They're going to be optimal for what they need to do. And in his body, he's a power lifter, for example, right?
Yeah.
And so in your realm, what would you think as a power lifter? What is like the perfect optimal like health and wellness for a power lifter?
Well, I would say probably, first of all, they're not going to have six-pack abs. They're going to have, you're going to see a lot of big chest, a lot of big muscle group, like legs and stuff like that. eating's going to be a lot different. They're not going to eat as clean, maybe up to the time of a meet.
Would they do like dirty bulking is what they were talking
Yes,
about?
yes.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like a clean bulking.
No,
diet,
not a clean
okay.
bulking. A lot more steak, fish, that kind of stuff. But I mean,
But they probably got really good range of motion.
they do. They do.
Mobility, you know,
Flexibility, like,
you
no,
know,
I mean,
everything else.
It's a
that
different
goes in.
workout because
Yeah.
a powerlifter is going to isolate a certain group of muscles that whole day, as opposed to a bodybuilder is going to do it. They're going to work out different groups throughout the whole week. A powerlifter won't do that. They'll work all their chest and back all in one day, as opposed to out throughout the week. So it's going to look different. Yeah.
You know, we talk, there's a lot of guys that work out here that are huge guys. And so the conversations I have with them, which I was really excited to talk about this segment, is how do I get to the next level? So they're really excited to hear from Eddie. You know, hear, okay, well, this is how you get to the next level. But now they're here, how do they maintain it? What does that look like? What does full function of the body even look like for an everyday person, you know? And so, you know, my thoughts, I'm not actually about that. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I don't really understand for optimal wellness in that category. You think, well, it has to be a top athlete. But if you're looking for a person in this gym environment, so an everyday Joe, someone working at, General Mills or one of the other places that are constantly coming here, the majority of our members, and what would be their optimal health? I mean, what would be something that we could sort of push them into, saying this is the direction you should go to? So the Illness Wellness Continuum is great all the way through. Okay, this is what neutral health looks like. We went over that. This is what good wellness looks like.
Yeah.
And now we're gone into this realm that seems like that's where everyone wants to be, but is that really where everyone wants to be?
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't know what you guys' thoughts. We can open that up to see, like, what is that? Is that a fantasy, or does that move down the scale to be an optimal in ideal of basic wellness? Does that make sense? So, what is your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I think to kind of talk about what we talked about the last time with Eddie is like your body type is going to greatly kind of depend on what you're going to look like first off, what kind of health. I mean, if you're short and stocky, you're probably going to be better at lifting heavier weights or doing a powerlifting type workout than somebody who's tall and spindly. Like, it's just, you're probably naturally going to be better at that, and so you may want to look at, maybe not necessarily powerlifting, but look at what you can do for your size, for your build, because everybody's different. I mean, everybody has different body builds, everybody has different, some exercises may work for this person but not work for them as much. So it's just about finding what works for you and using that to bring you to that, that next level, that optimal, to get you to where you need to be.
And so, and people even look physically, like, was it you and Kyle were saying at the beginning? So, like for this whole Hannibal run that we're hopefully going to be doing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's our end goal.
I mean, hopefully.
Yeah. We want to get to that certain point.
I don't know if that's
it's going to happen. So sorry for being pessimistic, guys. I apologize. But it's so funny because we talk to people and they're like, I ask people, so is Jeff training for me? And they said, well, why does he need to? He's perfectly fit.
Oh, God, no.
You know what I mean? But the concept of people in their mind is, well, Jeff's perfect. He's in the perfect health. He's in the perfect way. But
don't know who's saying that.
are we really? Yeah, but are we really in that realm? Is optimal nutrition or optimal wellness, is that really a generalized as this continuum states it should be? Because this continuum is what most health practitioners use.
Yeah.
It is. This is the way to do it. You're getting sick, you're going to move. This is the next stage you need to look for. But is that pure optimal wellness? Is that really what everyone should aim for?
I'm gonna go back.
But even if we're looking like muscles and beefy and tough,
It should not just be a look.
And that's what I was going to go back to.
Yeah.
It's just not a look. You can't
Yeah.
see optimal wellness from the outside. I want people to focus on, hey, what's your blood pressure? Like,
Yeah.
how's your heart health doing? Those types of things. The things that actually matters. I mean,
Yeah.
cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer, in America. How's that looking? I can't see that. I mean, there's indications that maybe something's going on the inside, but I can't see that 100% of the time from the outside. I mean, if people think that I can go out and run 15K today, no, I can't. I'm going to take some breaks, because I'm just not built for that. I'm not
Or
trained
wait on
like
me,
that.
because
My
I'm
heart,
going slow.
my heart and my body's just not built for that. So I haven't been trained. I'm going to run that thing like a grit class. I'm going to sprint and then take a break. Sprint and then take a break.
Okay, I'll be like the tortoise. I'll be slowly catching up with you.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be
I'm
good.
seeing a pattern in you, Jeff. The grit class, the racquetball, everything is go, go, go,
It's
stop.
go and stop.
Go,
Yes,
go, stop.
that's what I'm built
More
for.
of a
That's
sprinter.
right.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
So you've dealt with a lot of the tennis world, for example. So,
Yes.
And so I sort of had a question is, have you seen anyone that is like an average Joe? And I hate using that term because we're not average Joes. We're amazing athletes individually as we are. But the person that is like, I want to be a star. And they somehow, without having the genetic perfection that you need to help play in that, have you seen anybody get to that level of being the perfect person in their sport and being the perfect health, perfect everything, and they were not really seeming to be? Because if you look at that continuum, you go that route, everyone should be a top sport.
Yeah, we think
Everyone should be the top athlete. Because, I mean, I really don't think I've seen anyone, an everyday person, maybe the 1 percentile, that has full functioning of their body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you seen anyone move in that realm before?
I haven't seen a single person that's moved in that realm that doesn't have this figured out. The mental part of, and we're just using tennis as an example, and I managed tennis facilities for over 12 years. But if you don't have this figured out, the physicality doesn't matter. And if you watch any tennis on TV, if you watch, I use Serena as a perfect example. Serena is always calculating the next move out after every point in that match. Physically, she's more dominant than any player on the tour, even at her older age that she is now. But mentally, the toughness, Tiger Woods is a perfect example. If you don't have this figured out, and you don't know your body, know your limitations, know your strengths and weaknesses, and play off them, you have no chance. You could be an incredible physical specimen, but it doesn't matter if you don't have the mindset to take it to that next level. So that is, tennis, racquetball, golf, basketball, really doesn't matter what the sport is. It is so much in your mind of having that comfort level that you've done the training, you know what your body is capable of, you know where you can take it to, and having that confidence, and that shows on the court, that shows on the field, that shows in your arena, whatever the sport is. Olympic athletes, another great example. The mental capacity that you have to be able to take your elite status
To the next level.
to the next level. Yeah.
And that's really, we look at maybe 1 percentile in the whole industry we play with, if that. And I always like to go from, probably my favorite analogy to use athlete-wise. I think it's hilarious. And I never remember his name. He's an MMA fighter. He looks like the big hillbilly. And he has a big old belly.
Roy Nelson.
Yes. I love watching him fight. The guy goes through there so confident, but you think, my gosh, he comes against these beefy dudes, like muscular beefy dudes, and he just takes it to him. And you think, wow, okay, wait a minute. And I watched one fight recently where he literally knocked the guy out. The guy probably had 4% body fat. I think he had a 6-inch reach on him, and he probably weighed about 10, 11 more pounds than this guy. And it looked like this guy just got off the couch. And the fight lasted for 3, maybe it was a round and a half, and then the second round he knocked him right out.
Wow.
And it was just like, and this guy was big guy, was running out of condition, and this guy was running circles around. It made no sense to me. So then when I was watching this, I was thinking, man, we're going to be talking about this whole finishing out the continuum. And I really think this level does talk about those people. Like, is it really that continuum a cookie cutter system?
Right.
And I think it's sort of funny because you have people that come in here and you have people look at people and go, oh, that guy's really heavy set. I don't think he ever works out.
Yeah.
But you get him on the back squat, he does 360 with no problem.
Yeah.
Is he truly in the top realm of his optimal health? Is that a fact? I'm just curious, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I don't know. The thing that jumped to my mind when you were talking there is just like, it's kind of been a recurring thing through this chat is like the comparison game.
Yeah.
Fitness and wellness is not me versus you necessarily. Like on an individual level. Yeah, if you're in a sport, it is me versus you, at the end of the day. But if for the average person in the gym, it's me versus me yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's just being better than I was yesterday.
Right.
Eating a little bit better than yesterday, working out a little bit harder than yesterday. That's really what it is. And it's so easy to fall in the comparison game. Like, oh, I can see him do that, so I want to do that too. And that's fine if you want to, but you don't know the work. You don't know the iceberg. You guys have seen that graphic. All the work and dedication and time put into squatting that much or lifting that much or eating clean for that long. I mean, just embrace your journey, you know, as an athlete yourself. And I mean, that's what helped me in my last 12 years of my fitness journey, is just I didn't fall into the comparison game. Like I wasn't upset about how long it was taking, you know, because it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you just get there. As long as you just get there and you don't give up and you stay consistent, just keep striving for that optimal wellness, whatever that looks like for you. Just keep going, and don't because comparison will stop you.
And as trainers, we have sometimes people get to the point where we train with people, and you guys have been training with people for quite some time, where they go, what is the point where I need to stop training?
Yeah, when is it done?
When am I going to be where I need to be?
Yeah.
And I guess that's a question that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah.
What is my peak where I want to be? They all ask that question.
Right.
You know, you have all that physiological that's going on in their body, and all this change that they're seeing happening, and then they're plateauing, and not really, they're all still looking at the scale and not the measurement of their body. They're seeing that conversion of the muscle from fat. But I guess that's a good question, and I guarantee you a lot of our viewers are asking this question, is when do I know I have that optimal nutrition? Is it when I take a test with the doctor? Mm-hmm. Or is it when I bench press 425 pounds? Or, you know, when I can do circles around someone in a ring, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what would we say to these members that are sitting there going, okay, I've been doing this forever. I've lost my weight. I've sort of hit where I want. I sort of have a six-pack, but I don't feel completely where I need to be. Yeah. What is that finishing point? And I know it's not a finishing point, but a lot of these people think, I want to be there and maintain there. What is the typical there that we should really be?
Jeff Frank, can you please come to the front desk? Jeff Frank, can you please come to the front desk?
Yeah. Should we ask Jeff Frank?
Yeah, exactly. Apparently we need to ask Jeff. So what is it? What is it that we could be able to tell people, like, what is that point where they can say, okay, I'm good with maintaining, I think this is where I should be?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I think the people who are in that point, they don't ever look at it and go, I've made it. You know, they don't ever say, oh, I've made that point, now I can just kind of mellow out and do whatever. It's constantly, how can I get better at this? How can I be better in any way? Whether it's by nutrition standards, fitness, working out, whatever, it's always how can I be better? And I constantly have clients ask me, they'll come up, does it ever get easier? Does it? No, it doesn't. If it gets easier, then you're not pushing yourself anymore. You will not continue to see the results you're wanting to see. So the people who are in that level don't ever have that mindset of I'm here. It's always what's next. How can I get better? What can I do to progress myself farther than what I am? There is never an area for them where it's, okay, I'm here now.
I would almost go even a little bit further that if you are asking those questions, you're probably not at optimal wellness because you haven't fully transitioned your lifestyle. Right. You still want to kind of go back to some old way that you had, or just be done with this, like it was some temporary thing, and I reached this, now I can stop and just maintain. No, I mean that's just not how our bodies work. Our bodies adapt to change, and if you're not always forcing those adaptations, then you are going to revert back. So I mean, they just haven't fallen in love with the process yet. Yes. Fall in love with the process, and the results are sure to follow. I say that a million times. And if you haven't, and if you're asking those questions, that means you just aren't there yet. You think you're there, but you're not because you're asking those questions. Like, when is this done? It's never done. It's never done.
Tons of people ask that question a lot.
Yeah, it's never done.
And you look at the athletes we look at saying, oh, those guys are perfect specimen. But you think about it, they go through phases. Even in training, they go through their off season. And then their off season, they got fat and pudgy and unhealthy, and now they have to work their tails off to get to that perfect shape before season. Then they don't work out during season, and then it's this continual vision of what we think is perfect, but it's a very unhealthy overall lifestyle. Look at them when they're 50 years old. Their body is wrecked for so much change, and we consider that a healthy training cycle. But a human's body cannot go through continual. Let's go through off season for 3 months. Let's go through now hard hitting. And then let's go through 6 months of maintaining while you get the tar beat out of you. And we don't really see that. We don't really even off-season training ourselves. We're just hitting it constantly hard. Should that even be, my thought, even saying that, I don't know what you guys think, is should that we be doing that for us as members? As every day, should we do off-season training? Should we constantly to go deloading in a week to get us to that next level? I mean, what's your guys' thought for average members like deloading? I mean, I know people don't understand what deloading is, but deloading, of course, is lightening the weight, and going on lighter reps for about a week or 2 or 3, letting the body rest through the heavy seasons, and then gradually going back to hitting your 1 rep maxes again.
Yeah.
That's more of an athlete mentality, like a CrossFit mentality. That's that kind of thing is more of a sports minded. Should our everyday members be trying to maybe focus on something like that? Or is that something that should stay out of the realm?
As a trainer, we're certified through National Academy of Sports Medicine. We are trained to circle back to between phases of the OPT model. So there's the stability phase, that's strengthening your joints, the tendons and ligaments in our joints, okay? Then you're graduating, you move on to the strength phase, and then there's three other phases after that too. But we are taught to circle back and prepare our joints for that heavier load.
Okay.
Go back and circle and strengthen the tendons and ligaments because you're gonna start going a little bit heavier. So I'd say, according to that model, there is a place to kind of circle back, focus on safety and stability for the increased load that you're gonna go. But there's a proper training for that. You just don't decrease weight.
Yeah.
It's not just decreasing weight for a time. There's actually science about how to do that properly. So it's not just decrease weight, it's focus on stability. So I'd say in that context, it does make sense to circle back to the beginning, not the beginning, but to the first phase, so that you can push harder in the second, third, and fourth phase of the OPT model. So that's how I train my clients. Is to kind of, for the most people, they cycle between stability and strength, stability and strength, stability and strength.
So what is your
But it's not
thoughts
just
on
dropping weight.
I can't follow that. I agree with what Jeff is saying.
I
100%.
do like it.
I had to pull out my nerd glasses
I
there,
think
buddy.
that was very specific. I can't
Thank you,
possibly add
engineer.
anything more to that. But yeah, I agree with what Jeff is saying. I think that the key to it is there has to be some change. There has to be some variance to the program for sure. Cycling back full circle. A lot of our comparisons are to high-level athletes that are focusing on a specific target or a specific objective. But if we're talking about everyday members, those targets and objectives are not quite the same as a high-functioning athlete. And we have to understand that. Now, I'm the oldest guy in this group right here. I'm twice as old as Kyle. My objectives are quite different than Kyle's objectives at this point.
Yeah.
I want less injuries. I want my body to feel better, generally speaking. I want to be able to sleep better. I know I have to take my nutrition more seriously. All that comes down to changing. For years it was just athletics, and it was strength training, and I dabbled in this and I dabbled in that. But it was really athletics and strength training. Now my focus needs to be, not always is, but needs to be more for flexibility, more for taking care of my shoulders and my joints and my knees, so that I can continue to do the athletics and the sports that I love so much. So my focus is different than a lot of the higher level athletes. I was there for a while, but now I'm at a different point in my life where I need general, more comfort in my body. I need that to me is optimal wellness, is when my body feels good and my energy level is high, and that affects my work, my personal life, everything in between. That's really what the focus is for me.
I was really curious, and I know we're going to be wrapping this up soon, but our thoughts really in going into that, because again, optimal wellness is a goal that we all want to achieve. And of course, going into that phase, thank you so much, Eric.
You're welcome.
I digress.
You're welcome, nation.
Is
Wow.
you want to switch seats with me for a minute? So,
It's on your necklace, Nathan.
You know it. Yeah, you
See,
can.
we're all
Always.
self-promoting.
Always.
It's just not me. It's just not me.
Always. Represent.
So,
It's from New York.
You wish.
okay, so we think about it. We think about this. Oh my goodness. Okay, next time we're not bringing Eric on.
That was a good idea from the get-go.
So,
wanted me here, so.
Yes, we wanted you here so badly. We even paid him to show up. So with Kyle's salary.
Yeah.
So I guess what we want to look at, my thing is I want to look at is we have the members that are continually doing their same routine forever.
Yeah.
They think, well, I'm going to bench press. Now, the old saying that we probably grew up with the same thing is if you want to do something well, do it.
Right.
You know, if you want to be a biker, do it. You want to be a swimmer, do it. But that's more for athletes.
Yeah.
You know, and again, we're all athletes. Everyone is an athlete. We talked about that. But we have the same guy, gal, that comes in the gym and does the same routine every day and plateaus. And that is where we get a lot of our members decide to say, I'm done.
Stop. Yeah.
I've tried all I can, the gym failed. It's the old theory that I take a pill, and then I get off the pill and I gain 500 pounds back, they blame themselves. But they go into the gym and they go 2 or 3 times or 4 times and they plateau, then it's the gym's fault.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So what advice could we give to our members? Because there's a lot that are at that point going, I've plateaued. I mean, I get a lot of members coming into my office. You guys get a lot of people, especially you two, come to you guys and say, man, I have been doing this routine for 7 years and I'm still at the same weight. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, you need to change your routine, and fear hits their face.
Yeah.
Like, I can't change my routine. I'm going to lose everything I gained.
Yeah.
So how can we tell those people, like, advice on maybe change or maybe possibly what to do to change up on their routines to start seeing those results?
Well,
I think you hit on it earlier.
the best advice is that you don't have to do it by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't do it alone. You know, I mean, look for an alternate opportunity for training, and that's going to be usually with your peers. It's usually with your friends, mixing it up, going a different direction. But you do not have to do it by yourself. I mean, those that do it by themselves will plateau. When you were talking, Brett, the one thing that came to mind is the January phenomenon in most health facilities.
Yes.
We have a rush of new members that are all very excited for around New Year's Day, January through the rest of the month, where a lot of people come into the facility and they're ready to make a change, they're ready to make a difference, they've written out all their New Year's resolutions, and here we go. And then unfortunately, the statistics are half of those members are gone by mid to end February. So you have like a 45-day window to connect them to something, to get them attached to something or somebody. And so members, I encourage you to don't be afraid to go to the front desk or wherever you're working out, whatever you're doing, to go to somebody and ask them to help you get connected. Help you get, not just don't tell me what to do, because I can read that on YouTube. I can look all that stuff up and it'll tell me all the advice I need to be better and to have more optimal wellness. But to actually direct me to somebody, a person, a physical being that can actually help me and take me through maybe somebody that has similar interests, similar goals, similar age, similar physicality, or not, or maybe somebody that I aspire to be more like. But I strongly believe that the connection has to be personal.
Yeah.
It has to be with somebody. You have to have that support system at home. Very, very important to have a support system at home, that the people in your life, that your loved ones are supportive and believe in your journey and feel it's as important as you feel it is. Because if you're getting pushed back at home, if somebody's fighting this journey, feels like it's unimportant, that it's selfish, it will be a long road. You need that support at home.
And before anyone else jumps in, I just want to say Eric did a really amazing thing for our next guest to come on. He raised his hand. That was very proper. Thank you so much, Eric. That was very, very, very polite. You were raised well. So, and so I guess that's a good point. I mean, I don't know what else you guys want to add on that point about changing in our life. What changes need to be done.
Yeah.
But again, our members are always continually looking. That's, I think, what Eric says really well is the community. I go from the realm, for years I've been in, was CrossFit. There is a really cool article that says 10 things churches can learn from CrossFit. And there's a lot of comments that people say CrossFit is a community that has a workout.
Yeah.
And they stole that mindset from the YMCA. The YMCA does so well because it is a community, yes. Sports programs, which we'll be talking about that the next one. The youth programs are phenomenal here. That's the big base for our community. And it's a big base for getting people into wellness and changing someone's life forever. And we're going to hear about that in the next episodes coming up. It also has Les Mills classes, which they have a community in their own.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are so popular because it surrounds their own community, We have our wellness center, we have our training areas where you can see actually certain people meeting people you know, and they never would normally talk outside. So I think the community side is a big point for me. It's always is to help bring that person to the next level. And I think it's kind of our responsibility, as you talk about, as staff and even as workout people, is to greet those people that are kind of nervous about being in the gym and doing their same routine, and maybe help them into that next level of wellness, possibly. You know, you never know what kind of life you're going to change. But before we part and before we end, I mean, is there anything that you guys can say that would maybe help somebody, one of our listeners, into maybe even encouragement of what maybe optimal health, maybe give them a target to go for, maybe give them an area of okay, this is my next level, this is where I should be, or this is where I should aim for, or maybe, okay, I'm not even close, or maybe I'm there. You know, what would you guys individually, like at least if you could say a parting kind of word that might be able to help our listeners?
I think that understanding there is no fixed routine that is going to continue to give you results over a year's time frame. You're going to have to change it up. You're going to have to, mix it up. I mean, I normally personally give everything about a 4-week time frame. I'll do a workout for a month and then I'll move on to a different. And it doesn't have to be something off the wall. Well, I went from running 1 month to just doing powerlifting the next. But
Keystone did this.
Yeah. So recently, I was doing one workout where it was 6 days a week, hitting different body parts. And yesterday, I decided to do his workout, and I am still sore. So it changed it up a lot. It was more power focused. It was more targeting another area that may not get targeted as much in the previous workout, but just being able to continue to mix it up and understand, even if you think you know everything, there's a lot of people that come in, I know what I'm doing. You can always learn something from somebody else. And I think opening your mind to the fact to want to learn something new, because everybody's got something, that they can teach you something. It may not be about fitness, but everybody can always teach you something. So just allowing yourself to be open to learning can help with fitness as well.
What do you think?
I say, for one, don't be scared to try something different. Don't be scared to jump out of your routine a little bit. Slowly add a few things into your routine even. Just try something a little bit different each time you're doing your workout, and then kind of transition out a little bit. That's what I would do.
I would say it's never too late to start. I just want to mention that our largest population group in the country, the senior citizens, 65 and above, it's not too late to start. But I would encourage you that if you make the decision to start, and hopefully you do, on your journey in this continuum, that you do meet with somebody, that you do work with somebody, that you do have counsel, that you're not doing it alone. So don't be afraid to jump in. It's not going to be as scary as what it may seem like. Everybody's wellness is defined differently, and I think if you're at an age where you feel like, it is what it is at this point, and you're going to sit around and talk about ailments and all this kind of stuff, you can still start a routine. You can still change daily behavior by injecting one thing that will start a pattern that develops kind of a ritual and turns into a wellness journey. And you won't even know that it was starting or that it's happening. It just is. So never too late to start.
I'll just say that being stuck and out of shape is hard. Trying something new and getting in shape is hard. Choose your heart. That's all I have to say.
Very quick.
Closing remarks.
And so, I guess also too is don't be afraid to join the community. I guess our big thing is that the YMCA has to offer a phenomenal community. Swimming, again, bringing their kids into sports. It's all about the community. The old saying, we learned this in Egypt really, really quickly. It takes a village to raise a child, This is one thing I'm really seeing about the Hannibal YMCA, which has been different. I've been all over the world, is the community is phenomenal. I literally have ladies coming up to my kids and saying, your kid needs to have this and this and this here. The only place I've ever seen that happen is Egypt. And it happens here at the YMCA because people really do care about each other. It is really, really a cool environment that has been placed and taught by our members and also from our staff. And so it's a very easy environment to get into, a very easy environment to be a part of. And people really, really encourage each other. It's not like your typical I hate to use the term meathead gym, but it's not your meathead gym. It's not people are making fun of you because you're working out. It is all right, what's the next level? Hey, did you hear about our Group X classes, Les Mills, all these kind of things? Have you heard about that stuff? Hey, I'm working out with Kyle. This is wonderful. He's been training me. All these different avenues. I've been doing my swimming aerobics. It is for everybody. So be a part of the community. Don't be afraid to get out of the rut you're in. And the sky's the limit, I think, at that point with that, because success will happen. So after all that, we're done with the Illness to Wellness Continuum. That has been fun. Thank you so much for coming. Don't leave yet, but we're gonna. Yeah, I was afraid he was just gonna walk off.
Wow.
He is not getting paid by the Bears to do this. He's just a lost soul. So, sorry, honey.
soul.
Yeah, sorry, honey. Sorry, Amanda. She's a Bears fan. So, stay tuned for our next episode. We are shifting over to youth sports and how wellness pertains to that and how it helps the body, socially helps, and emotionally helps. And we're going to be having some amazing guest speakers for those three episodes. And we're going to have our normal crew being here, plus Tom Ivan. He's going to be joining us through those 3 episodes, so it'll be wonderful. So please stay tuned. Thank you so much. And if you want to see something else special, please post it on our page and go to our YouTube page. And definitely just give some advice of what you like to be talked about. Cool. Take care.